Welcome to Hancock's VMware Half Hour. And welcome back to Hancock's VMware Half Hour and another session. And if you're watching the last video, you saw me make a real hash out of putting together a Turing Pi 2 motherboard on the STREACOM STBC1 mini aluminium open bench table or open bench case. Where we basically used a red one like that. I mean, it made a complete hash of it. But in the end, we got there. We used these standoffs here, and here, and here, and here. They're still on the bench here. I need to screw them onto the case. But anyway, in the end, we found that these push pins weren't going to fit through the motherboard. So we used the standoffs, and we used these thumbnails to secure the motherboard to it. But I did actually turn around and say that as I had on the desk a couple of heat sinks, there they are, a Geekworm model C235. They are just a heat sink. So as I said, that I've got a couple of packets of these, and I've currently got a Raspberry Pi Compute Module, which is upside down. Which you need to be very careful with if you're actually basically connecting these on the Turing Pi, because they can go either way. The connectors are not, they don't have an indentation or anything like that to stop you putting them on the road round. So do look at the picture on the board of where the CM4 needs to be placed, which basically is upside down. If you look there, that Raspberry Pi Compute Module 4 is upside down in relation to the edge connectors. There we go. That's the right way up. So what we're going to do, we're going to install this heatsink on top of this Raspberry Pi, and there's a cutout on this one, which is for the Wi-Fi connector. So I like to actually basically put the nuts actually on top, and the screws actually through the Raspberry Pi itself. I'm not going to put them through the board and through the Raspberry Pi because I do actually basically like to take off the CM4s. But if you were going to permanently fix them, then you could put these screws through. So the first thing I'm told to do, and this is all fiddly really when you've got fat fingers like me, is it does actually say, and I'm following the instructions here, which says, cut the thermal pad to appropriate size and stick it on the CM4, which is the big silver square can in the middle. Mounting, hold down to M3, work with CM4 only, work with CM4 and IO board, not include fan. It's interesting because I've actually basically done quite a few of these, and as it's quite a lot of thermal transfer something or other, I generally actually basically put a bit on. If you look on the bottom of the heatsink, on this heatsink anyway, it's actually got two places where you can actually basically put, from what I can see. So I'm going to sort of kind of cut it in half, and I'm going to put a bit on there. So there we go. I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm going to stick one piece on the CM4, and I'm going to stick the other piece on the other chip. And this is a problem I always had, trying to peel back. Maybe I'll try and do it in front of the camera if I can, and you can see it, but all you're watching is me trying to, there we go, I think, oh, there we go. I managed to get that. So we'll just put that on there. And I'll do the same with the other piece. I'll take the, well, that worked quite easily. And I'll stick that on there. Now I need to try and peel off the layer without peeling it off the chip. And this is what I always find difficult. Now, you can run Raspberry Pis, and you can run CM4s without heat sinks and fans, but the chips do get very hot. And if you actually want to really maintain the life of them, then I definitely recommend a heatsink and a fan as well, if you can find one. What we're going to do here, we're going to put a big Corsair 120mm fan on our mini bench, open bench, to get some air through them, because even with heat sinks on, they get hot. God, I'm struggling to get this. Tell you what, you look at that. I'll have a coffee. I'll put this on pause, and I'll just try and get this damn wrap off. All that sticky stuff is difficult to get off. Okay, so we have eventually managed to get the double-sided tape or whatever it is off. So I've now turned the board over, and I've stuck the board. I've actually stuck the heatsink onto those chips. So now what I'm doing, I'm just going to drop these nuts and bolts through the holes of the CM4. And if you're using the right heatsink or fan, or heatsink and fan for the CM4 that's been designed correctly for it, it will be designed with the appropriate clearance between a carrier board, or in this case, the Turing Pi2 carrier board, or if you're using, I was just going to go and grab it, but it's actually in use, so I can't pull it away. If you're using one of the official Raspberry Pi carrier boards, then the right amount of space or clearance will be provided for you. So I'm just going to screw these up. Now, if you look through the Raspberry Pi data sheet, it probably does actually tell you what the clearances are, but it probably also turns around and tells you what force that you are supposed to do up the screws. A bit like if you were to look at an Intel data sheet or an AMD Ryzen data sheet. Does anybody do that anymore? A friend of mine probably does. But anyway, so that's just the last bolt nut going on. So then I'm just basically going to take one of my mini screwdrivers is up here, and I'm just going to basically give it a few turns, and I'm going to do the diagonal. I'm not basically going to go and sort of kind of, I don't want to crack the motherboard. I don't want to apply too much pressure to the device, or bend the PCB or anything like that. It's just really just a few turns. There we go. So that is now ready to go back onto our motherboard. And as I was sort of kind of saying to you before, if you look here, you can actually connect it the wrong way. But then what you find, then you had a gap, and it shows the serial number of the Turing Pi carrier board. That's the wrong way round. So you actually basically want to put it on the right way round, and then it will just snap. There we go. Into position. There we go. That's it. So there we go. You've seen me now actually basically connect, install a heatsink on a CM4, and tell you what we'll do. We'll move all that crap out of the way there. We'll put that back in there, and we'll reach back over here, and we'll find our Turing Pi board, and we'll put that back there. And now that back in, and if I show you that there now, then you can see we've got two lovely CM4s with lovely heat sinks. And if we put the fan here, then we can basically get some air across those heat sinks. So there you go. There we go, all done, and nothing crapped out and went wrong, which is just amazing. Which probably actually basically means that I probably knackered the CM4 somehow. Right, okay, thanks so much for watching, and come back soon. If you've liked this video, then thumbs up. If you don't like it, then thumbs down. But once again, thanks so much for watching, and good night and goodbye.